Hi everyone. Excuse my laundry drying in the back, but I'm excited about this update. I'm gonna go quick because I want to get to the important stuff. Okay, so first, I was very productive this week, and I had this vision for empowerment bracelets for Hispanic people. So I'm going to share one of them. It actually has a lot of meaning behind every bit of this design, but I'll share all that in a later date. This is the bracelet. It's a leather braided bracelet, and it has Hispanic people on here, HP2. I will also sub up HP2 for other empowering words. And let me stop because I'll go into every detail of why this bracelet, and I want to get to something else. So, what else has the Lord done this week? So much. He's an awesome God. But I can proudly say that as far as I know, okay, he's still cleaning me out. But there are 3 insecurities that I have had that I have not conquered yet. I had not conquered yet. And they are conquered as of today. And I am so excited, and I feel so much lighter about it. And I'll share with you how the last one was conquered. So, I have a lisp. If you can't hear it, when you meet me, maybe you'll hear it. But I have a lisp, and I also have Invisalign. You can't see it because it's invisible, but I do have Invisalign, and it makes my lisp a lot worse because it's something in my mouth. And anyway, it makes it worse. And I actually I didn't know I had a lisp until around 3 or maybe 2 years ago, and a friend of mine told me that I had one, and I was like, really? Like, I didn't know, and I was like retroactively embarrassed. Like, I was embarrassed for all the times I had spoken to large groups of people and didn't know I had a lisp. Like, it was crazy. And my solution, my band-aid for this issue was to avoid public speaking. And it's crazy because public speaking was a huge part of my life previously, but now that I knew that I had this lisp, like, I was just so self-conscious, and I just didn't want to. It was just easier not to public speak or not to talk to large groups of people or to talk to strangers, whatever reasoning. And I didn't realize at the time, but I had let this flaw imprison me, and that is not okay. And as I was going through this journey of figuring out what topics I want to address with Hispanic people, this conquering or being confident in your flaws was always on my list, but I thought that I had conquered all my flaws until the Lord started to clean out my closet, and I realized that I hadn't. And so tonight I went to the event, and I was very paranoid. Walking into the event, I was very paranoid about my speech because the retainer was irritating me, so it was so much worse. And then the topic came up in front of some friends. And one friend asked another friend, why does Crystal talk like that? And then I don't know what that friend said, but then they both decided to tell me that they had talked about it. And it was just, icing on top of my lisp cake is what it felt like. And I didn't, say anything to them about it because I'm not the type. I'm funny most of the time. I'm very sarcastic, but most of the time very serious in my sarcasm. And so I brought out a sarcastic comment and laughed it off and tried to get out of that room as soon as possible. And I went to the event. It was a worship event. And someone hosting called someone else peculiar. And it sparks my thought process about his peculiar people. And I started to think, like, wow, I'm sitting here worried about my lisp and how I speak. And that doesn't matter. It's not an issue. It's not an issue. It's just another way for the enemy to mute me, distract me, imprison me, send me closer to or further away from my purpose. I mean, that's really what it was, and I let it happen, and I had been letting it happen. And honestly, I'm so thankful that my friends had this conversation because it brought the issue to light. It brought it to my attention because I had been so good at avoiding situations where I had to speak that I forgot that it was even an issue. All this, I'm sitting here thinking. I said, Lord, enough. I no, 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 no. If the devil's going to try to take me out, he has to come stronger than this because I am better than this because I have a God who's better than this. And who cares that I have a lisp? I do not care about it anymore. And I literally, through the course of that program, the event that I was at, we had worship leader after worship leader, and the message was all very clear. God above all, nothing else matters. He is the King of Kings. He has called you to do amazing things. You have to believe in Him. And all this reminded me of the story of Moses. Moses had a stutter. In Exodus 4:10, it talks about how God told him, like, I created your human mouth. Some people I created who could see, some people I created who can't see. Point is, I'm God, I created you. If I'm calling you to speak in front of people, I'm going to be there with you, and I wouldn't lead you somewhere that you will fail. And, I mean, I'm paraphrasing. Read it yourself, but that's what it's saying. And that speaks to my life. Maybe your issue isn't speech. Maybe your issue is you're like Leah, and you think that you're the ugly sister, and you don't want to do anything. You don't want to be happy because you're depressed because you think you're the ugly sister. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you're like Abraham and you're too old. You're old, you want to have kids, but you're old. Who knows what your insecurity is? The world has so many ridiculous, not real, no one can reach them standards that a lot of our strengths we think are insecurities, to be honest. And once we take these things and we put them above our calling, that gives the enemy a back door into our lives. He will always have a way of sneaking in because he knows that will get you, that will hurt you, that will set you back, that will mute you, that will depress you, that will make you suicidal. Whatever the level of your insecurity is, as long as you let it have power, it has power. So I challenge you to clean out your closet. Really sit and think about how you think about yourself. Call it out and then cast it down. I challenge you to do it. I challenge you to do it. I did it. The list, I didn't even know that was one, but that was my third one. My first one, I have a learning disability. When I was in college, and I would mix up numbers or skip words or have mix up my sixes with my nines and different things that I would do. I thought it was me, and I was so embarrassed by it. I did everything I could to move through it. And once I realized, and I called it out, I said, okay, I have a learning disability, but who cares? God is able. I will graduate from school. This will not stop me from doing anything. If anything, me graduating with this learning disability shows that God is so much greater than anything else. 2, I have a lisp. I will be a public speaker. I will talk to large groups of people and tell them about God. And when they hear my lisp, I will say, yeah, I'm up here talking about God, and I have a lisp. Look how awesome He is. Right? 3, I'm scarred. I have burns, all kinds of scars all over my body. That used to consume me. It used to really bother me. But now I'm like, hey, I'm flawed, but I know that I'm beautiful because my God told me so. Look how awesome He is. Use your flaws as your strengths. Use them as ways to show that God is able to do anything with anyone at any time. I don't want any other glory. I'm so thankful for my strengths. I'm so thankful for them. But um, they do not always hold me to the level of humility that I need to be at. But my flaws, they do. My flaws keep me humble. So I'm thankful for them for that purpose. Oh, I'm talking a lot. That's all I have to say. Um, Stay tuned for next week. I love you all. You are beautifully, wonderfully flawed. And I will talk to you next week.